Welcome to Sports Guy Talking. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am joined by guest Shawn Davisson today to talk about whether or not Giannis Antetokounmpo is the best player on the planet. Now, see, the Bucks were defeated in 7 games by the Celtics in the second round of the NBA playoffs, despite the fact that Giannis Antetokounmpo put up monster stats throughout the series. Despite the Bucks missing their second best player in Chris Middleton, they still made the series competitive. Before I say anything else, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So, here it is. Has Giannis Antetokounmpo proven that he is the best player on the planet in the NBA?
I'll take this one. I'm gonna say yes, he has. I'm gonna say he's proven all he's needed to prove. He's the only player in a series to ever record, I think it was 200 points, 100 rebounds, and 50 assists, all in one series. I mean, he put the team on his back. He made these games competitive, except for that game 7 and maybe like another one. But these games were competitive. They were closer right there throughout. And, they just fell because in the end, they just didn't have Chris Middleton, who's a really good closer. He can create his own shots. They needed that. But they just didn't have that in this series. So Giannis did everything he did, everything he could to prove he's the best. And I'll stand by that.
Yeah, definitely. I think that I already thought he was the best player on the planet prior to the series, but if there was any doubt left, any reasonable NBA fan and viewer of the sport should absolutely erase that thought. Giannis Antetokounmpo proved that he's the best player on the planet. Look, if you look at that Bucks team in that starting lineup, that team should not even have taken the Celtics team to 7 games as far as I'm concerned. This is the same Celtics team that swept KD, Kyrie, and the Nets. All right, you just look at this Bucks team. It's Giannis and basically role players. I know Drew Holiday, he's a pretty good player, but Drew Holiday is your second best player in that starting lineup. That team should not be going to 7 games against the Boston Celtics. Giannis Antetokounmpo, he carried them big time. First player in NBA history to score 200 points, get 100 rebounds, get 50 plus assists, all in the same series. Incredible stuff to see for Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, look, the only knock you could have knocked on Giannis Antetokounmpo for the series is that maybe his 3-point shooting percentage should have been better. But you know what? It's freaking Giannis Antetokounmpo. If Giannis makes like 20% of his threes, you know what? That's good enough because this guy, he could dominate the paint. His mid-range shot is not bad at all. And he's clearly, when I say this, I really mean it. He is clearly the best player on the planet. There's really no close player to that.
Yeah, I mean, this series should not have, if anything, it should have made you more confident he's the best player rather than taking it down. No one should have demoted him from this series because he won the championship last year. He took the Celtics to 7 games this year when he shouldn't have even done that. I mean, like you said, it's crazy with the lineup he has. And I mean, credit to the Bucks. They did a great job of putting players around him that they needed, but he needed another superstar, another all-star in there. Chris Middleton could have been that other all-star, but he was injured. I mean, if Chris Middleton's in the series and they have another closer, they have another guy putting up 20-plus points a game, I mean, I don't think the Celtics are going to the next round.
I think that if Chris Middleton had played in the series, I think the series would have been over, here I say, in 5 games, which is just insane to think about because the Boston Celtics, they have an elite defense. I really like the way they play defense as far as I'm concerned. Credit to the Boston Celtics. But yeah, it also took Jayson Tatum. Got to shout him out. He played basically at an MVP-like level throughout the series. Jayson Tatum was incredible. And anybody that doesn't have Jayson Tatum amongst the top 5 players in the NBA, you got to be kidding me. Because Jayson Tatum, he's an incredible basketball player. And we're getting to see it on full display. Everybody was ripping Danny Ainge and the Boston Celtics for not trading Jayson Tatum for Anthony Davis a couple of seasons ago. And I was like, hey, they got to keep Tatum because this Tatum guy, he's going to be a future superstar. Just wait. And what has he shown us? He's shown us nothing but that. Jayson Tatum, he's an incredible player. And look, I wasn't trying to diss Anthony Davis when I was saying that, but there's a reason why Anthony Davis has become injury prone now. All right. And Davis, he was a great player then. But anyways, back to my point about Tatum and Giannis. Yeah, man. And remember what Giannis was saying to Tatum after game 7, something about, basically he was trying to give him his props, talking about how he's basically up there amongst the star players in the league. And to see Jayson Tatum be able to take over the floor on both sides of the floor, pretty impressive stuff. This guy can do it all. He's basically what Kawhi Leonard was basically supposed to be for the Los Angeles Clippers. So the way I see this, man, that was already an impressive feat that Giannis Antetokounmpo took them to 7 games, because it's not even like the Boston Celtics played bad in the series at all. They actually probably played a little bit better than what you could have probably reasonably expected out of them. And to see Giannis Antetokounmpo carry this Bucks team on his back with Grayson Allen as a starting shooting guard in a playoff series, if that happens, man, I mean, I don't know anybody that says Giannis Antetokounmpo should have won the series. I mean, I think they need to be drug tested.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Giannis wasn't meant to win this series. I mean, he did everything he could to try and get them to win, but like you said, Tatum, he scored like 11 straight points for the Celtics down the stretch, and I think game 6, which put that over. But I mean, they were leading; they were up 3-2. They just had to win one more game, and it was close. And then that in game 6, and then game 7, the Celtics really pulled away with help from Grant Williams. And man, I mean, props to Celtics. They had, like you said, Celtics probably played a little better than they were supposed to as well. I mean, Celtics played really well. I look forward to that next round matchup. But I mean, as far as the Bucks go, they were one game away. They almost did it, and they weren't supposed to.
That's right. And Grant Williams, he showed up in game 7 as well. He made plays happen. Marcus Smart, he also made plays happen as well. So the Celtics got some unexpected contributions. But if the Celtics hadn't gotten that, the Milwaukee Bucks legitimately could have won the series in 6 games. They just couldn't close the deal. They ran out of gas. I mean, I did pick the Bucks to win the series, but that was because I believed in Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't think Giannis Antetokounmpo has shown that the belief in him should still not be as high as what it should be. What I'm trying to say is that Giannis Antetokounmpo clearly has proven that he's the best player. But let me go ahead and ask you this. Since we both agree that Giannis is the best player in the NBA, who do you think right now in the NBA could challenge Giannis for that throne, if you was to argue?
I mean, if you're looking at just playoffs right now, you're seeing Luka Doncic just go absolutely off. He matched the Suns' points in the first half. Like, it was Luka Doncic had 27, the Suns had 27 last night in that game. So Luka definitely could challenge. You look at Kevin Durant, that's probably who I pick is the second best player. I mean, Kevin Durant's awesome. I think people are, down on him because he just got swept by the Celtics, but I think there's a lot of chemistry issues there. I think there's a lot of identity issues with the Nets, but Kevin Durant does his thing. Kevin Durant's awesome. Just watch him play and you'll remember that. Then you obviously have Embiid and Jokic up there as really dominant big men. But for me, it goes Giannis, then Durant.
Yeah, I agree with that list. That's pretty good as well. I know a lot of people, they want to kill KD for getting swept to the Celtics, and I'm not saying that he shouldn't not deserve some criticism for it, but trust me, there were bigger problems on the Brooklyn Nets than Kevin Durant. They had the little Kyrie drama going on all year long, and then Steve
Ben
Nash.
Simmons.
Yep, that's right. And Steve Nash, he looks like he doesn't even really know what to even call in terms of his rotations or his plays. His game plan is literally give the ball to Kevin Durant and just figure out whatever the heck is going on, stand on the sidelines. He also hoards his timeouts as well. So the way I'm looking at it, I think coaching was more of a factor as to why the Nets got swept rather than Kevin Durant just not playing like a top player in the NBA. I mean, there's only so much a guy can do. There's a reason why we don't kill guys like LeBron James for losing 6 finals in a row, because we recognize that, hey, LeBron James, he was going up against way better competition, for an example. I mean, let's just be honest about it. And this has come from a guy that picked against LeBron James basically almost every single finals. All right, but when you look at it objectively, yeah, that's just kind of the deal. Sometimes you might be the best player on the floor, but if you don't have a good team around you, if you don't have the pieces around you, if you don't got the coaching, you're just not going to win the series. That's just how it's going to be. Now, if they do win the series, then props to them. But, in sports, or especially in the game of basketball, you need more than just the best player play like the best player on the planet. I mean, we just saw what Giannis Antetokounmpo did, tying it back to him, putting up all those monster numbers. It wasn't enough for the Bucks to win. I mean, at some point, they just need better players. And it's hard for Milwaukee because Milwaukee is not a free agent destination. If they had somebody like a Dame Lillard or something like that to take the pressure off, this Bucks team with Giannis, they could legitimately become a dynasty. I'm not necessarily trying to suggest that Dame is going to get traded to the Bucks, but hey, watch out for that.
Yeah, I mean, I would take it back to the Nets for a split second and tie it back into Giannis. But I mean, Kevin Durant, you look at that team, and like you said, there are plenty of issues. The Kyrie stuff all season, Steve Nash, and then you have Ben Simmons, who's supposed to be on that team, and everyone's ripping him now because he should have been playing in those games. He was okay to play in those games, but he wasn't. And so that's a big question mark with Ben Simmons there. You look at what Kevin Durant did, and they weren't supposed to win that series. Then you go to the next round, and you see the Bucks, and Giannis did everything he could have done, and they still weren't supposed to win that series. But instead, Giannis was able to take that team to 7 games. Durant only losing 4. That's why I have Giannis over him, and Giannis is a clear number 1 to me now. And I'm excited to see the Celtics team moving on. They're still pretty young, if you look at them, believe it or not. But they had guys step up when they needed to in the series. They had Al Horford, they had Grant Williams, Marcus Smart. They had unexpected players play very well.
Al Horford went crazy.
Al Horford went insane one game, like his career high in a playoff game. I think career high in a playoff game. It was crazy. I mean, so it took all that to beat Giannis in 7. A Bucks team that shouldn't have been there.
Right, and to answer what I was asking you earlier about about who could challenge Giannis Antetokounmpo as the best player, I mean, I'm not necessarily going to give you a clear answer because I don't necessarily think that there is a clear guy that could challenge Giannis for the throne. But if I had to pick, I'd say Luka Doncic just because of the fact how he's been carrying this Mavericks team without a star player really to the conference finals. I mean, my goodness, Luka Doncic. By the way, I said he would be a superstar before it would be popular to say so. I always believed in Luka, but yeah, Luka Doncic, incredible player. And then the other challenger that I think could just maybe challenge Giannis Antetokounmpo is Joel Embiid. Might have an argument there. Other than Luka and Embiid, no, I don't really think that there's much of a challenger for Giannis Antetokounmpo. So I think that we now both agree that Giannis is the best player in the NBA right now. All right, but let's wrap it up by asking you a quick prediction. Celtics Heat, how many games do you think this is going to go and who wins?
That's a tough one. You see the Celtics team haven't been in the finals in a long time, and then you look at the Heat team who was just in the finals in the bubble a few years ago, and you have a lot of experience there. Not much with the Celtics, but I'm expecting the Celtics to win the series. I'm expecting it to go 7 games. I'm expecting this to be a great series. This might go down as one of the better series that we look back on. I mean, I'm ready for this Jimmy Butler, Jayson Tatum matchup. I'm ready to see what Bam can do. I'm ready to see Marcus Smart can do. Like all these players, I'm ready to see it.
Yeah, for sure, man. And this is going to be a rematch from 2 years ago in the bubble, which is kind of wild to think about. I don't know. I'm going to make a video about this probably tomorrow. I'm probably going to make predictions. But as of right now, I'm going to say Miami Heat in 7 games. I'm really not sure who to go with. To me, it just depends. It just depends who's going to play better defense and which star player is going to play more like a superstar. Because nobody basically had Jayson Tatum and Jimmy Butler as the top tier players in the NBA before the season started, or even necessarily throughout the season. So the way I'm seeing it, not really sure what to go with. All right, well, thanks for being on the show, man. Really appreciated you coming on here. All right, make sure you follow at Shawn.Davisson on his Instagram. And then you go ahead and go follow his Twitter at Shawn Davisson too. All right, so make sure you go ahead and follow his socials. I'll leave that in the description box below. All right, thanks for being on here.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. And hey, he's a big Giannis Antetokounmpo fan. I'm also a big fan of him as well. So we both absolutely agree that he's the best player in the game. All there is to it. Yep. Bye. That was Shawn Davisson that you guys just heard. All right, so like I said, he's a big Giannis guy. He's a fan of Giannis Antetokounmpo. I like Giannis Antetokounmpo as well. We both agree that he is the best player on the planet despite losing in 7 games to the Boston Celtics. We both believe that he proved enough to be the best player in the NBA over a Luka, over a Tatum, even though Jayson Tatum's a great player himself, but we all recognize that Jayson Tatum had the much better squad. He's better than Embiid. He's better than Jokic. He's better than LeBron. He's better than KD. What we're trying to say is Giannis is definitely the best player in the NBA, and it's not even close right now. So that is why Giannis Antetokounmpo has proven to the rest of the NBA world that he is indeed the best player on the planet in the NBA, despite losing in the second round of the NBA playoffs to the Celtics. Now let me go ahead and get to the shoutouts. So here it is. Shout out number 1 goes to A Troy Talk Show. All right, so he says, nice vid, fire emoji. Yeah, man, he's been one of my regular commenters, and he was complimenting me for talking about the Nikola Jokic topic. And my response to that is, thank you to that. Thank you for watching these videos and commenting. It means a lot. It means a lot to me. That's for sure. Now let's go ahead and move on to shout out number 2, which is Panthers 101. This is not a regular commenter, but this is a commenter nonetheless. He was selected in the shoutout selection, so he has fire emoji. All right, so that's him reacting to the Deshaun Watson video. That's shoutout number 2. All I got to say is thank you for doing that. It means a lot to me as well. Continue commenting so you can have chances to get shouted out on the show. All right, so that's shout number 2. So shout number 3 will be Chris Keys. All right, so he says, yes, they need him. He's responding to whether the Memphis Grizzlies need Ja Morant or not. I'm also inclined to agree with him as well. Although they seem to be a much better basketball team without him than with him. Although they're still a pretty good basketball team with Ja Morant. Certainly interesting in terms of the trend for the Memphis Grizzlies and Ja Morant. So that's shout number 3. And shout number 4 goes to Fanboy Football, the final shout out for this week. All right, so he says, I know Harden's not in his prime, but they have an offseason to build around him, assuming he stays. Well, here's what I got to say. I don't share that guy's optimism about James Harden. Now, hopefully James Harden proves me wrong and proves that he can indeed become a player that the 76ers could use to help win a championship. But I'm not sharing that faith because James Harden is aging up very quickly and he's not going to get any better anytime soon. The way I see it, James Harden is due for a hard regression, while the 76ers will more than likely probably be forced to overpay him. So that's how I'm looking at it. So those are my 4 shout outs that I have to present to you guys. Again, thanks for commenting on these videos. Thanks for liking these videos as well and promoting it to other people so they can go ahead and subscribe to the channel as well as watch it. It means a lot to me. It means that the channel is growing. I'm very thankful for that. So remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking if you haven't yet. Like the video and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in a future video. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Dustin Tran and at Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter at Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to Sports Guy Talking to get the latest from the show, Tran Talks. Go ahead and like the video. Comment down below. Check the description box on the video in order to follow my socials. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from Tran Talks on the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.